Right, well, hello, everyone, and welcome to how AI is changing the game and winning roofers more jobs. Um, Faster response, better follow-up, more visibility. I'm Carter Wiley. Um, I work with, I've been working with roofing companies for about 2 years now, handling marketing, and there's been a big shift, obviously, in the past 2 or 3 years towards AI. I feel like that's what you hear everywhere. And so within like the past 5 or 6 months, we've really been putting our focus in on AI and optimizing things through AI. And I feel like we've learned a lot along the way of what works and what doesn't, and how it can be a useful tool for you. So I thought this would just be an interesting topic to then try to just have a conversation with other people who might know less about AI but might know more in other ways that things that could work. So, and then Josh, if you want to introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, so I'm Josh Wiley, and if you can't tell, Carter's my son. So I'm trying to, kind of help him along on his journey, and he's definitely more technical than me. So on the AI side, he's got a lot of knowledge. I'm the founder of Wiley Strategic Group, and in the past, I got my start about 20 years ago, doing a lot of SEO work. And so I've been super interested in how AI is going to affect um, the SEO world. They're now calling it GEO, but just for you roofers out there, um, things are changing. People aren't going to find you on Google anymore. And so I'm excited to kind of jump in and help the discussion today with Carter as we kind of go through, the shifting sand of getting leads and marketing and things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Things are changing a lot, so let's get into it. Just to start with a brief explanation as to what we're going to be talking about. You're not losing jobs on the roof when you're converting leads. Once you have the lead and you have your salesperson go out there, 90% of the time, once you establish that relationship between the salesperson and the client, you're going to sell the job because people are going to feel more personal towards the person and more likely to be agreeable and sell the job. The problem is that you're not getting the leads converted from Google searches, AI searches, word of mouth, whether it be one of those few channels. You're losing them before the sales process even starts. So why speed still wins?
So I could jump in on this one, Carter. So, I know you as roofers have always known, somebody calls you for a job and you don't answer. There's a good chance that they're going to call, the next roofing company down the list. And in the past, a lot of the roofing companies have all been on a level playing field. And, what's different now is you have to be faster because with AI tools and technology, things are happening quicker for other companies also. So if you're not part of the AI game, if you're not somebody that's using the technology out there, you might have been winning this before, and you might see some of your competitors jumping over you on this. And this is something that's, we'll talk about, but it's very easy uh, to have AI help you, answer the calls quicker.
Yeah, for sure. We've been noticing that a lot more as these new companies are popping up using AI as the forefront of their sales mechanisms, and they're replacing those family established locations in towns, not fully replacing them by word of mouth, obviously, but for new move-ins, they're going to be using search results. And most people don't even scroll past the Google AI summary at this point. So if you're not in the Google AI summary, you're going to be losing out on that new potential lead. And so just a clarification, with AI. We're not suggesting you replace your employees with AI. We're not telling you to go put an AI robot up on your roof. What AI is a tool that can be used along with your employees to optimize your workflows, answer when your team can't, send follow-up when nobody remembered to, or spot the 30K job in a pile of potential jobs. So what AI is doing is not replacing your staff or your team. It's working alongside your team to better optimize your workflows and your outreach to customers. So then you can grow your team even more because you're going to be bringing in that additional revenue. So don't view it as a replacement, but as like an add-on or an extension of your employee.
Yeah. So this one just hits again, on the point that um, you know, your office worker might not be there, but you need a process in place to be there for your customer when the time hits. And so, if you're a roofing company right now and your process is you just check the voicemail on Monday, then you probably know that you're missing some business, and maybe you've put some fixes in place on that. But it's easier now than ever. Uh, to really get something in place that's a lot quicker, And so some of the things, if you decide to work with Carter and I, with implementing some of this stuff in your roofing company, some of the types of things we can do is AI answering or automatic replies, on calls that come in, that we could start getting the customer some real information without actually having a person available. And what this does is that makes that customer kind of bonded to you. If they start getting ideas of like, okay, this is how the fix is going to work, these are the next steps, they're not going to go start with another roofing company. But if all they're getting when they call you is a voicemail, then they're not committed yet. So we want to get that commitment in place, even if it's on the weekend, so they know that you're going to be reliable and there for them, when they need it.
Yep, exactly. And I know we've been talking about AI a lot and not really explaining what ways AI will work with your team and what things AI will do. So I just wanted to quickly explain this as well. There's really three channels to it. The first is going to be your optimizing your website for AI and your search results for AI because people are going to be searching for roofing companies. They're going to be typing it into ChatGPT or to Google search results. They're not going to scroll through the fluff lists and Google's 6 pages of Google sponsors anymore. They're going to go straight to AI. They're going to ask, what's a reputable roofing company with good reviews in my area? And if you don't show up, you're losing out on that lead. So that's one channel of AI. The other one is going to be for your workflows and customer relationships. So you can set up where it'll automatically trigger and notify you if there's specific customers that you should get in contact with, where it'll send emails to those customers, follow-ups, reply to reviews, basically make it feel like there's a 24/7 agent working for you, whether it be on your website or on your back end. They're going to feel like there's constantly someone there to reply to their potential messages. And then the third channel as well, if you are not using AI with your team to generate new ideas and new things to try and things to update on your website, then you're also going to fall behind because AI is a tool that's going to help optimize basically every aspect of your work environment. So you really want to focus in on those three channels specifically. And there's more to AI beyond that, but those are the three ways I feel like AI is going to be changing the way things work for home service businesses specifically through leads, workflows, and idea generation. Um, so this slide here is touching up on one of those things I just mentioned actually. The AI can go through your leads and check which ones you want to check in with, send maybe a question to them if they haven't responded after a certain amount of time, because most people on your team are probably moved on to the next lead if they haven't heard from someone in 7 days, 14 days. The AI can go in and then offer them financing options, maybe nudge them down now and again down the line, not to annoy the person, but just to like friendly reminder, and maybe they can gauge what is the reason why they're not, so then you can use that information down the line for future sales.
So I've been in marketing, most of my career, and it's really what gets me excited. I'm a competitive person. I think pass that down to Carter. We're both very competitive. You probably don't want to be playing a board game, in our house because uh, we get a little nasty sometimes if we're not winning. Um, but what I love about what AI is going to be able to do is it's going to help you in marketing. And there's so many, old school roofing companies right now that probably aren't going to adapt quickly. And so your opportunity is there. One of the things we can do is lead scoring. So we're able to decide, I'm sure you guys have a CRM, or, at least using some kind of spreadsheet. But how often are you actually getting data from that CRM and analyzing it? And, what AI is really good at is taking a large set of information and dissecting it and finding opportunities that you missed. And so, um, what we really want to do with companies and what we're doing with some of the companies that we're already working with is we're grabbing the data that they're already collecting and we're putting that, through some prompts and through some, different systems that we use that we found that work and finding those opportunities that are missed. And so we can do things like lead scoring. What are the customers that have fallen through the cracks that, a job wasn't sold on? Following up with them in my email and putting them in the email sequence and things like that. But I think really what I want to get up, the point of this webinar, and if you're somebody that's watching it and has made it this far, then you probably understand it. But um, the world is changing, and a lot of roofing companies aren't adapting, and so I just want you to know that your opportunity is there if you act quickly. Your opportunity to be a leader in your area, to be one of the first ones to really embrace AI and get the benefits from it is there. And so if you missed, the wave, when the website stuff came out and Google SEO ranking and you missed that and wish you'd got in earlier, now's your chance to get in earlier in this new wave of what's coming. And it's really going to decide who the winners are in the next, 2 or 3 years of getting the most leads in your area.
Yep. Yeah, well said. For sure. And then another thing I was just thinking while you were touching on this is you can use the data from your CRM to maybe figure out which areas you should target more and which areas have a higher conversion rate. Just gather all the data just so you can figure out maybe there's a specific area that you should target more through email versus a specific area you should target more through mailers, depending on like the age demographics in that area, and all that can be done through AI. So just
Yeah,
another thing I'm thinking of.
it's
Um,
exciting.
yeah.
If there's a competitor that you've always wished to jump ahead, now's your chance to probably do it because
Yeah.
maybe you're never going to do it on a Google and SEO. Well, stuff's shifting away from Google, and now if you're got a new platform, a new opportunity to jump ahead of that competitor you've always wanted to be on top of.
Yep. Exactly. It's a very changing landscape right now. So, um, this is kind of a question I wanted to ask. Where do your leads live right now? Do you keep them in a spreadsheet? Do you keep them in maybe your CRM is John Nimbus? One of my clients uses AccuLinks. I know there's other CRMs out there for roofing companies such as BuilderTrend, as well as a few other smaller ones. And my question with that is, how are you implementing AI into your CRM? And that's kind of what Josh touched on a little bit on the previous slide with how you can actually rank your leads potentially, and you can also follow up with them. And then a lot of these CRMs now actually have significant AI integrations and AI tools built into them specifically. So my question is, are you using these tools? Are you getting the most for your money out of this CRM? Do you know how to use these tools in your CRM? And are you getting the most value out of it?
So this, this slide is talking about one of, I think, the greatest opportunities right now is it, Google is always, up right around 90% of all search volume organically. And so if you're a local roofing company, you basically have one chance to get found, and that's Google. And Google still drives a lot of business, and that's, not going to completely go away. But right now, there's a recent report that already up to 37% of people are talking with AI to find who to go through, for consumer searches. And so, if they're like, hey, what's the most reputable roofing company in my area? They're using AI for that now. And so they're like, the 37%, I really thought it might take 2 years to get to that number. And it's already there. I thought that might be a number we see in 2028. And so now, I'm thinking in 2028, we might have 80% of people going through AI. And so, if you're solely dependent on Google, the future of your business is going to be um, struggling if you're not doing anything to get found by AI. And this, we could probably talk about this all day, but this is the area that I think, Carter and I could really help you one on one to be able to show you, with the tools that we pay for, expensive tools, but we've got a subscription there. We'll be able to show you, how your company is doing for AI visibility. What are the types of things that you need to improve on? This is what's going to take you into the next, 10 years. And it's no longer going to be people that are just searching a town's name and roofing. They're going to be asking long questions. They might be saying, I'm looking for a family owned roofing company near me. These are the price points that I want. And if you don't have that data out there on the internet, not only on your website, but through, other places, third party references, AI is not going to mention you. And so, AI at some point, they're starting to offer advertising. Um, but it's yet to be seen whether or not advertising is actually going to pay off for AI. People might just go straight to the answers that they're getting, and that's where you want to rank. That's you want to be in that area. And if you're not investing any time or money into that right now, you might be surprised in a couple of years. A lot of your organic leads aren't what they have been. So,
Exactly. And if you're spending a lot on maybe Google Ads, Google local surface ads, things like that, you might want to be shifting some of your budget towards AI, not AI ads particularly, but GEO, which is
mhm.
showing up on AI. And there's a lot of different things you can do to make sure that you show up on AI. I know one of them you mentioned to me yesterday, Josh, was about transparent pricing, right?
Mhm.
Um, if you want to talk on that for a second.
Yeah. So, what AI, you need to have an understanding of what AI is trying to do. AI is not trying to give somebody a vague answer. They're trying to give somebody a very specific answer. And what a lot of home service companies, roofing companies are doing is their past experience was let's always keep any kind of pricing question hidden. Let's make that something that they have to call us to get a quote. While some companies are starting to say, hey, let's put the pricing out there. Let's get pricing sourced in third party platforms like Reddit and things like that. And what they found is all of a sudden they're getting tons of referrals from AI because any question that in your area that the customer's asking specifically about pricing, now there's maybe only one company or two companies that has any information on that. So AI doesn't really have a choice but to show you as the answer. Um, and so, there's a big opportunity in GEO right now that you know, 1 year from now or 2 years from now, everybody's going to know to do it. But right now, not everybody knows to do it. So these are the types of things that we can help your company with. It's like, where do we put that? How do we get that so that the AI can read it? Those types of
Right.
things.
And that's just one example. There's a lot of different things that
Yeah.
go into how an AI ranks things, how it generates results for someone asking a particular question. And we'd love to go into more detail with that for your specific website, and it's a use case per website. So this is just an example here of the Google AI. So Crossville, Tennessee is actually where I live and one of my clients is. And you can see Google AI is actually putting them at the very top there. Jeff Woods Construction and Roofing. And then the rest are listed below it because we've actually tried trial and error, I guess, on some specific things, but now we know exactly what works, what will get you ranked up at the top for AI, for the Google Maps results as well, because those are going to be ranked by an AI Google ranking system. So it's all really comes down to how you are appearing online to something that can scan your entire website in seconds and scan your entire online reputation in seconds, and then decide, compare you to your competitors and see how consistent your information is, what your reputation is like, how much there is out there about you, all of it. It takes everything into account in seconds. So as opposed to in the past where maybe someone you wanted one web page to filter them through and you try to have it as converted to a sale as possible and optimized for that. Now you need as much information, quality information, not quantity, I would say. AI is definitely prioritizing quality information. And just because with AI, there also has been an influx in quantity of information just being put out there by other bots. So you want quality information, good reviews, everything is taken into account within seconds and then fed to the potential lead. So there's a lot. There's a lot to that. And then 4 questions I would ask any company, and the fastest company should be able to answer. Response time on new leads. How quickly are you responding to a lead after it comes in? What way are you responding to them? Are you giving them a call, an email? Are they sitting there for a few days over the weekend maybe before they ever hear back from you and they've already gone with someone else? And then after the first call, are you following up with them? Are you reaching out to them again, offering maybe some other options, alternatives? Um, is every single lead that you get going straight through to your CRM? Are you just logging them in a spreadsheet? Maybe you're literally just writing them down on a piece of paper right now. And you need to optimize these kinds of things are what AI can help with and work along with your team through. So the last question I would say is, do you show up in your AI search for your local area? If not, how can we change that? And so that's kind of the reason we've decided to do this webinar today, is we want to offer a free custom AI audit to the people who might have be watching this webinar right now. And we are offering to just go through your website, rank your AI visibility, see how you're following up with leads in your CRM, and just make an audit on what things can be done better, how you're performing relative to your competition right now. Just get you all of the data and statistics through the tools that we have. Um, we have some expensive tools that we use to kind of gauge all these things pretty easily and create easy comparisons between you and your competitors. So we'd love to share this data with you and maybe go through some different ways that we could help you. And if not, I mean that you can keep this data, it's yours to have either way. If you don't want our help on anything going forward, you can use this data yourself, maybe take it to your team, maybe take it to AI yourself and ask what you can do with it. But we would love to help you as well. Just because we have that experience in these kinds of areas. We've gone, like I said, we've gone through trial and error. We know what works, what doesn't work, and we know where you want to put your time into, and we have the resources and tools necessary to put the time into these kinds of things while you focus on selling more of these leads that are going to be coming in because there are going to be more leads coming in. We've seen it firsthand just through AI. You can easily double your leads a month just by optimizing things. So, we're going to have this QR code here. If you are interested in potentially having your website audited, feel free to scan it. Additionally, you can type audit in the chat and just let us know if you want us to check out your website. Is there anything we can do other than that for you? And we'd just love to open it to conversation with you. So,
Yeah, and Carter and I would love to do a one-on-one with you, get some data,
mm,
do a one-on-one call with your team, for free and just be like, okay, well, here's where you're missing out. Here's the types of things you need to do to win. The game's changing quickly, so if you're not having, people that are kind of experts in this area looking over your stuff, if you've maybe got somebody on your staff that's got eight other responsibilities, but you just added them as somebody that wants to look into this. They're not going to have the secret sauce. We work with other companies. Carter's kind of found that secret sauce. That has is working right now, and whatever the was working right now might change, and if it's not a matter of just like hey, you put this in place, you got to adapt as things change. And so I remember back when I first got started, I had a website all the way back in the early 2000s, and that's the SEO, was just kind of starting and things like that. And boy, was it easy to do some things to get ranked. I could put out an article and I could rank number one in Google within like 2 weeks because it was early, and there was a lot of gains to be had early. And so I think right now with AI, we're on the same point. You're early and you're going against competition in your area that's likely not adapting quickly. And so this is your chance to win. I would say to, get on a one-on-one call and, we can at least give you some free information, let what we would do for you if, you decided to use a company like this. But regardless, you're going to be able to get that information from us and decide, what your next steps are.
and if you guys want to stick around for just one more minute, anyone who's watching this potentially wants to stick around and see just an example I wanted to show of a way AI could actually help you convert leads on your website through a tool I built actually that integrates AI. So I will go to one of my clients' websites where we've been using this. Um, yeah, Jeff Lloyd's Construction, and we've actually gone and built this tool down in the corner here, where when someone clicks on your website, they're not going to want to scroll through and read every single thing on your website to try to find the answer to the question they're looking for. Um, so I built this AI bot here that can actually answer everything for them. And it's like a small micro version of ChatGPT geared specifically towards your website and selling leads based on your information. So you can see here, you can get an instant estimate where you actually have the home data of so 150 million homes included in here, just for like the roof square footage. And then you can also have them explore the shingle options, explore financing, ask questions, and inquire about other services. So instead of them going through all these tabs, searching for the answers they want, You can say, ask a question, and then maybe they're like, how long does a roof install take? Maybe they're curious about that. And the AI will actually get them an answer, typically 1 to 3 days, depending on the size of your roof, weather, roof complexity. So instead of spending time, one of your people might have to answer these questions. It can all be done right here on your website. And then the point of the bot is it's geared towards getting that person to then fill out their information, and you can get out there and have your salesperson who's trained to sell the lead. This gets the lead, your salesperson sells the lead. It's not replacing your salesperson, it's not replacing anybody. It's just a tool to help alongside them. Um, and then I'll show the roof estimate tool just one time over, just for anyone who might be curious for that as well. But as you can see, there's a lot of different things you can do with this tool, and it's very customizable on the back end. I can briefly touch on that as well. Um,
And everything on it works a lot quicker when you're not also doing a Zoom webinar at the same
yes,
time, using
I'm
a lot of
sorry.
your resources. But
Yeah, I'm
um,
also far away from my internet right now because I'm up in my office.
but
Um,
but this speaks as Carter's doing that, starting to put some of that in. This speaks exactly to what we're talking about kind of winning your customer over on a job before they go to another customer. And so, what do they usually want to know? They want to know how much it's going to cost them. And so, if you're able to give them an idea of the cost, even if it adapts, from there, you're giving them quick access to information that they're going to say, okay, well, I know where I stand with this roofing company. I'm already into the process. I'm committed. This fits within the range of what I was thinking. And, they're not going to be shopping around as much. Or if you do give them a price and they say, well, I'm going to shop this around with 3 or 4 other places, the 3 or 4 other places might have some kind of long process for them to get the quote. And because you were quick, they're just going to say, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going with, this company. And so I think these leads are going to be very strong leads that you get.
right. And just
So
just to show you that it works, you can see we put their bot on the website for Jeff Woods May 19th. Since then, they've had 20 leads. So you saw one of these leads, you're already covering everything cost-wise that might come in up front. And this is actually free to use, free to put on your website, free leads per month. Are you guys seeing my screen? Sorry.
there you go.
Okay. Um, yeah, so you can see they've gotten 20 leads since we put it on their website May 19th. And you can see how customizable it is. You can have it scan your website and it'll fill in all this information for you, or you can do it manually. Put your logo, your company information, years in operation, a little about your company, and that can be generated easily too. So it's really just super user forward friendly. And then, like I said, this is free. You can have 3 leads come in per month for free, and just to show you it works. Once you're happy with it, then we can go from there. Additional questions, you can include your financing options, and you can actually connect it into your CRM. You can test it right here if you'd like to. So I just thought this would be a cool tool to just briefly show anyone interested in AI and roofing, since it's both of those combined. Yeah, that's about all I had to share on that. I'm excited to hopefully have a conversation with a few people. Just ways we can help. So
Yeah. So thank you, everyone that attended live, and also those that are maybe watching, on video. But make sure to take us up on that free audit, and nothing else that could help give you kind of a footprint of where to go with your AI.
yeah, thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Dad, for helping me out with this as well. And
Yeah.
what we said.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
See ya.
you.